Hello, and welcome to a new season of Jazz Tonight. I'm Michael Jacobi, executive producer of Jazz on the Plaz, and host of Raising the Standards radio show in Santa Cruz on KSCO. Before we get started, a big thank you to Pruneyard Cinemas, the new dine-in cinemas at the Pruneyard. Eat, drink, and catch a film. We'll talk more about them later. Is our new sponsor and an old friend, a woman who stole my heart last year and brought it back, and I appreciate that. Natalie Douglas. How are you, my dear?
I'm quite well. How are you?
Well, great. We should tell the viewers, KCAT, our studios where you were last year, there's some construction going on. So we came back to our old home here at the Toll House, which last night we had a preview party, and you were here in front of this
great backdrop, yes.
very backdrop, knocking them dead again. And
it was fun. We had a good time.
Yeah. So what's Natalie Douglas up to? What's the acronym for the awards? Is the Manhattan Cabaret Award?
Manhattan Association of Cabarets and Clubs, MAC. I was lucky enough to win 2 more MAC awards this past season. Immediately after I saw you last year, I went back to New York and began the series we're calling Tributes, which opened with a tribute to Sammy Davis Jr. Okay. And then we did a new tribute every month for 4 months. So I did a tribute to Sammy, a tribute to Linda Ronstadt, a tribute to Nina Simone, of course, my goddess, and we wrapped up with a tribute to Shirley Bassey.
That is so
and that's
special.
what that series of shows is what I won the 2 awards for.
Natalie hates this joke, but the next move is she's doing a tribute to ABBA at the Grog and Sirloin in Paramus in New Jersey on Route 15. So it's going to be so good. By the way,
I don't hate that joke. I like some ABBA songs. I do.
Do you know that ABBA doesn't speak English? They sang everything phonetically.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Which I do. I speak phonetically. I have no idea what language this is.
Well, you're doing very well.
Thank you.
Actually, a friend of mine is in the new Cher show that's opening in Chicago on its way to Broadway. She's one of the Chers. And she was telling me that Cher is in the studio working on some ABBA tunes right now for her next album. And one of them has clearly learned to speak English because he's in there like helping her produce and giving her notes on the song. Can you imagine giving notes to Cher? That's amazing.
Are they all still alive?
Yeah, they are. They're supposedly going back on the road. I don't know if it's going to happen.
Was Mamma Mia 12? Or
No, we're only up to Mamma Mia 2 in the theater soon, I think.
Meryl Streep needs to take a week off. So the awards are coming in fast and furious, and God bless you.
Luckily for me.
Congratulations for that. Let's talk a little bit. You live in the city?
I do. I live in New York.
Where do you live?
On the Upper East.
Okay. Up near Columbia?
No, that's west.
That's
on the other
west,
side.
East side,
by the Metropolitan Museum, over that way.
All right. All right.
Yeah. We've been in the same apartment for 20-something years now.
Rent control?
Yeah, well, it's stabilized. They're different things, yeah.
That's good.
But yeah.
Well, and when our ships were passing in the night, I was just in New York last month.
But I think I was gone. I think I was in Las Vegas when you were in New York.
Well, you left probably to get away from the 28-degree temperature.
No.
And I lucked out. I got there a week that it was decent weather.
Yeah, we've had some weird weather this year in New York City. But no, I love having New York as my home base. And then I get to go lots of places where it's freezing, where it's lovely and temperate, where it's really boiling. Do
you play Europe a lot?
I do London twice a year.
Okay.
And then in the summers, I've done a couple of Mediterranean cruises. 4 years ago, I was in Germany at the Recklinghausen Festival. They call the Ruhrfestspiele. That's all the German I know.
That's why it's such a romantic culture.
Exactly. We took the Nina Simone show to them, which was a lot of fun. Yeah.
We should give the folks a little background. If you remember, if you were at the show last season with Natalie Douglas, we bring people back the following year. Rarely, but if someone really wows the crowd and knocks them out, and people were walking in the streets with torches telling me, bring her back. They're storming the castle.
Yay!
Now, our artist in resident, Paula West,
love her.
is a good friend of yours.
Yes.
She was here at your show last year.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, we were just talking on Facebook this morning. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because you were talking about playing Europe. Do you know Sasha Boutros?
Of course I do.
Well, Sasha is going to be here next week.
Oh, she's great.
Who sings in 14 languages. But she plays Paris constantly.
Yeah, well, I think she's moving. I mean, when I saw her last was when I was here last year performing in San Diego, which is where she was based for a while. Yeah. But I think she's moving her home base to Paris.
Yeah. Talk a little bit, but did you grow up in New York?
No, I grew up in Los Angeles. I'm an
That's
LA
right.
girl.
We did. You're an LA girl. You're bi-coastal.
Well, yeah, kind of, I guess. Isn't everyone really?
So you went to high school and college in LA?
Yeah, I went to Westlake School for Girls, which doesn't exist anymore. And then I went to USC undergrad and UCLA grad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. You don't want to be a Trojan or a Bruin? You go,
Yeah,
you're like the president at halftime. You have to go to the other side?
No, I loved being an LA girl. That's what it was. And, I have family members who went to both. So it was okay in the family to do that.
Now, at what point was there an epiphany that said a lot of music in the house as a child?
Yeah.
You sang, or did you play?
Yeah. I did for a little while when I was a kid. Yeah. The epiphany was when I was 4. My mom taught me to sing to keep me out of the kitchen while she was trying to make dinner, and I fell in love with it, and I sang constantly. All the time.
There's a great story about this, though. What's the song? Wasn't there?
Oh, yeah. Well, the song was "You'll Never Know."
That's right.
Yes. And
a 4-year-old.
And I created my little. It was the very first tag I ever created. I created an arrangement, and I was so proud of myself.
Yeah.
That was the song. And then when I first realized it could be a career, was not very long later. My parents took me to see the Count Basie Orchestra, and Joe Williams walked out, and I was hooked, utterly.
Well. I was just going to say, there's nothing like a 4-year-old saying, I don't care if I can't sing in the kitchen because I've been booked for 2 weeks in the family room. Things are going really good.
It did start early.
You got to stick around a few minutes, obviously.
Let's do it.
And maybe we'll trick you into doing a little a cappella later.
Oh, okay.
Because I know we don't have any instruments there. That's our only choice.
Well, I happen to have a piano in my bag.
That's exactly right. I want to take a second to thank the folks at the Pruneyard Cinemas. Folks, you got to see this place. This is totally hip, full-service dining in the theater. They have a marvelous bar called the Cedar Room, and if you can catch a flick, get a bite, and have a drink, it's a pretty special deal. They've just opened. They're kind enough to help support us and sponsor Jazz Tonight. So we're going to give you a little tour on video about it, and then be back with Natalie Douglas on Jazz Tonight.
Hello, and welcome to Pruneyard Cinemas, Silicon Valley's most unique movie-going experience, and the South Bay's only service-to-your-seat luxury theater. Since this concept is probably new to many of you, let me take a moment to help you make the most of your visit. At the Pruneyard, the show starts long before the film begins. From our media wall in our lobby, keeping you up to date on happenings here at the theater, to our concessions area, which is, well, pretty special. Oh, you had dinner and cocktails in mind? Well, you came to the right place. Our chef-driven kitchen and Cedar Room offers seasonal bites which pair perfectly with our craft cocktails, draft beers, and local wines, and are all available at the bar and at your seat. It's really quite simple. If you'd like something from concession, something from the kitchen, or from the bar, just press the call button to your right, and one of our servers will be with you in no time. So that's it, just place your order. Thank you. They will be back with your check long before that critical scene in the movie. Our goal is to not disrupt you or your neighbor's experience. So just put up your feet and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Jazz Tonight. I'm Michael Jacobi as we begin this our 17th year of Jazz on the Plaza. And I guess starting 5 or 6 years ago, we started to do themes. We've done Gershwin, Cole Porter, Sinatra, the Duke. Last year, Billie Holiday, which you were here for. And people say, well, where are you going to go from there? I mean, it's a little tough to follow. And what we decided is that we'd really take a page out of the history of jazz, because the next queen, really, of jazz was Ella Fitzgerald.
First Lady of Song, as they called her.
We talked about this last night, the great story, 1934 at the Apollo Theater, where she was an amateur night, and she was a dancer.
Yep, she thought of herself as a dancer, and in the wings, she saw the act in front of her, and they were fantastic dancers. Oh, I thought it was a duo. Yeah. And they were so spectacular. She thought, I can't do that. I mean, she was a knock-kneed kid, you know. And she walked out on stage, and the MC said, "Okay, what are you going to do?" And she said, "Well, I thought I was going to dance." And then she just stood there, and he said, well, you're out here now, do something. So she said that she sang a song that her mother loved that Connie Boswell recorded. But the interesting thing was, over the years of her life and her career, she told that story so many times that sometimes she said different songs.
That's right.
So I think it may be lost to history which song she actually sang, but the crowd went wild.
Certainly it was a turning point in jazz.
Absolutely.
That special evening. All right, since I baited you with this. The 4-year-old singing More Than You Know. Let's.
No, you'll never know.
You'll never know. Let's see how far the 4-year-olds come from here. Give me a couple of verses.
Let's see. Well, Mama was very good. She taught me the verse too. So, darling, I'm so blue without you. I think about you the livelong day. When you ask me if I'm lonely, I have only this to say. You'll never know just how much I love you. You'll never know just how much I care. And if I tried, I still couldn't hide my love for you. You ought to know, for haven't I told you so 1,000,000 or more times? You went away and my heart went with you. I speak your name in my every prayer. If there is some other way to tell you I love you, I swear I don't know how. Here's the tag. You'll never know if you don't know. You'll never know if you don't know. You'll never know if you don't know now.
That is. I must tell you, there's an unwritten rule in this business that you never ask a performer to do something without telling them in advance. And God bless you for doing that. It's beautiful. And you did something there that Bobby Short used to do that I love, is singing the verse.
I love it.
And because so many of the Great American Songbooks tunes are from Broadway plays. And so there's an intro that putting it in the context.
Sure. And even some of them that aren't, just because the tradition of the day, when they wrote standalone songs, when they wrote songs for the films, they had a verse. And so many of those got lopped off, and we only know, how long has this been going on without it, or but not for me without it, and Love for Sale.
Or one day we walked along the sand one day in early spring. I held a piper in my hand to bend its broken wing. Now I can recall the many a day and many a lonely mile. The echo of a piper's song.
The shadow of your smile.
Yeah.
So gorgeous. And Ella was the queen of doing verses.
Yeah.
I was actually teaching a workshop this past weekend to fantastically talented young people, 18 to 24, who are all in love with this music, even though so much of it was written decades before they were born. And I was encouraging them to go and listen to the great ones, to Ella, to Nat King Cole, to Carmen McRae, to Nina Simone, because those people loved the music so, and thought interpretation was important. They weren't just making pretty sounds. They weren't, that is all well and good, and one hopes to do that. But, the heart matters too.
Well, yeah, which is part and parcel to Billy. That's...
Absolutely.
We all learned from pain, and you exemplify just the heart coming through.
Thank you. Thanks. I hope so.
So we've only got 4 or 5 minutes left.
Okay.
What folks want to find out? You got a website, obviously.
Yes, it's my name, NatalieDouglas.com. Only one S on Douglas.
And what was the name of the label?
Wrong Black Girl. WBG.
Okay. I love it.
Well, it just implies that I am my own kind of black woman, and not someone else's idea.
So how many CDs have you? You have 4 or 5?
We have 3 now, and we actually have another that we're working on. Number 4, hopefully, will come out early next year.
Okay.
We'll see. Yeah.
Obviously, folks, by the time you see this, you will be winged your way back to Connecticut, wherever you're
New York.
To New York.
The next gig is in
You'll be
New
back
Jersey
in
with
Paramus.
Billy
Right.
Stritch. Right, Paramus. Yeah.
That's right.
We're doing the ABBA show. No, the next gig is in New Jersey, and then the next day, a day after that, I'm at 54 Below doing a Barbara Cook tribute, which is nice.
Very cool.
Really lovely, with a bunch of fantastic singers. 7
And you
Broadway.
you did Elvis at the Blue Note,
Yeah,
didn't you?
no,
Or
Elvis at
Elvis
Birdland. At Birdland, yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. The Elvis tribute was. I think we might do an Elvis thing when we do our show here tonight.
That's neat. That's neat. And I'm glad you did a Sammy thing.
Yeah.
Because Sammy, my favorite Sammy Davis album is with Lorenzo Almeida.
Oh,
And
yeah.
when you get away from the cuckoo man.
Yeah,
he
well, the
was
earlier-
some kind of singer.
Oh
I mean,
my God! Well, and he could
marvelous.
do everything. He tapped. He did impressions. He did, straight acting. He also taught himself to be the fastest gun in Hollywood.
He was. You're
Yeah.
right. It
He
was a
could draw
great, quick
in
draw.
something like 0.25 of
Yeah.
a second, or crazy. 25 tenths,
He was the Tesla of quick draw.
which is a thing somebody needs to be.
It's a little long story. Well, we're delighted you're back.
I'm thrilled to be here. It's great fun.
It makes me feel good when I say, "Wow, this is as good as it gets," and 2,500 people go, "You're right," and so that makes me happy. It means I'm doing my job.
Well, I'm honored. I love it here. It's beautiful, and everyone's been so great to us.
Thank you, my love.
Thank you for
Good
having
seeing
us.
you as always.
You too. A
Knock on
treat.
Dead. That's Jazz Tonight. We're so happy to be back for the season. A big thank you to the folks at the Pruneyard Cinemas. Next week, Sasha Boutros.
Ooh.
And then we've got Spencer Days coming back,
I
our
love
with
Spencer.
Full Spectrum Jazz. So
All my
it's going
cool
to be
friends.
a wonderful season. Thank you for sharing it with us. Until next time, I'm Jacobi. I'll see you soon.